directed at me from another human. I think if I hear a computer, if I hear computer working anymore, I'll kill myself. A few hours later, Mutania's crew and Storm were getting ready to leave. They walked into the transporter room to leave to beam up to Mutania. After hearing, after leaving Storm's thing, after beaming Storm's things up, they were all ready to beam up also, until they noticed that Sheena was missing. They noticed that Sheena was missing. Newton told Mason to go and get Sheena. He then turned to Storm and asked, Storm, you still haven't told us how Mason 2 died. Do you know how he died also? Yes, at least I think I know. Mason thought he was dying of cancer, or of leukemia. He thought leukemia over cancer because he kept on feeling cold. He tried to get warm, but couldn't. He always felt cold. One day, while he was taking a shower, I think something happened to the shower. Well, the heating system, that is, because he froze to death in the shower. What? The water couldn't have been that cold. What? The water couldn't have been that cold? Well, it was. He was covered with ice and looked like a snowman. Covered with ice? Asked Newton with a laugh. Yep. Covered with ice, said Storm. He really didn't think he had cancer or leukemia. Oh, he really didn't think he had cancer or leukemia, did he? Yep. Even though it's curable, he felt cold all the time. And you want to know something really strange? What? Asked Obacoba. He seemed to be getting gray, and he was only 64 near the time he died. I think he was aging also. A few minutes later, Newton and the others noticed that Mason wasn't coming back. Newton didn't like this and told the others that it wasn't like his two crew members to pull such tricks on him, no matter how bored they were. I'm going to see what's taking those two so long, said Newton. And he went in search of Sheena and Mason. Newton had Obacoba and Storm call out for them, but there was no answer. Newton walked down the dark corridors of the station. He looked into the deserted rooms and then found himself walking through the city's main kitchen. Newton became suspicious and began to wonder if Storm was hiding some dark secret about the place. Suddenly, as Newton was making his way into an abandoned hangar deck, for shuttles, Newton heard a deep, low, computerized voice say, satirically, "Hello, Newton. Long time no see, Newton." Newton took out his phaser and began walking about through the hangar deck with fear. "Who's there?" asked Newton, looking at every dark region of the huge room. "Don't remember me, mighty Newton?" "I can't place the voice. It sounds computerized." "Are you afraid to show yourself?" There was a laughing sound. "Ha ha ha, no, godly Newton. You should be afraid of me. I shall soon reveal myself when you come upon me, mighty one." Are you responsible for the disappearance of my two crew members?" "Ha ha ha, yes. I needed to capture them to lure the great Newton here, the great Major Matt. I had to lure you here so I can tear you from limb to limb. Ha ha. Ha. I think I've heard that threat before. You aren't very original, are you? Hold your tongue, Newtin. When I kill you, my life will then, and only then, be fulfilled. Why? Suddenly there was a big clanking sound, followed by another and another. Newton looked around and saw a big metallic robot walking out from behind an air conditioner. The machine stood 9 feet tall and was made out of very thick, strong metal. Very thick, strong metal. Yeah, Newton, yeah. The whole thing looked like a weapon because its arms had machine guns at the end of them. Newton then looked at the heart of the approaching robot and soon saw who soon saw who was the threatening and saw who was threatening him and who was behind the controls of the brute machine. Newton looked through the thick glass chest of the machine and saw the ugly green invalid and the ugly green wrinkled and burned face of Callisto 2 coming out with a look of determination on his face. Callisto, said a puzzled Newton. Suddenly Callisto pulled out some gears, causing the machine to lift its arms. Newton quickly dodged to the side as a powerful blast of machine gun bullets shot out and missed him. Instead, it put big holes in the hangar door. The robot swung around and tried for Newton again. Newton ducked them again, then flew at the machine and hit the machine with both fists, knocking the 3-ton giant back, almost sending it to the floor. Callisto worked quickly at the controls and made the robot swing a punch at Newton. Newton ducked the heavy metal claw, then gave two exploding punches to the robot's midsection that made such a loud sound the noise echoed through every corridor of the space station city. Newton punched the robot so hard that it put dents in the 5-foot thick metal stomach and almost knocked Callisto out. Newton then swung up and hit the head of the robot, whose face looked like the end of a missile. The punch almost knocked the robot down. Callisto managed to keep it from falling down and actually got a punch in on Newton that sent Newton crashing up against the wall from a strong left to his shoulder. Callisto then fired the robot's machine guns at Newton again, causing the bullets to short out to Newton's artificial leg. Newton then quickly flew off the floor before the robot could get off another round and began flying around the robot. A look of panic appeared on Callisto's face, realizing that Newton was a lot more agile in the air. Newton flew down and kicked the robot in the back, sending the robot crashing to the floor. As it got up, Newton jumped up and gave it a powerful kick to the back, causing it crashing and sliding down the floor this time. Callisto had hoped that Newton hadn't had his artificial limbs charged to their strongest, but his hopes were in vain. Newton's limbs were charged to their strongest. As the robot got up again, Newton booted it in the midsection, knocking it tumbling onto its back. Newton took another step to it and suddenly felt a round of machine gun bullets quickly zip up and down his body that sent him crashing up against the air conditioner that was now shorting out. Newton found himself laying in a big hole of the air conditioner with electrical sparks of energy coming out of the air conditioner as his yellow mutated blood flowed out of the holes the bullets made in him. Before the wounds healed up, and Newton be- before the wounds healed up, and Newton began to and Newton and before his wounds filled up and Newton regained his senses, Callisto made the robot snatch Newton up in its clutches. The robot began swinging Newton around like a puppet, like a paper puppet. It then began using the other claw to hit Newton with. Newton became dazed on every hit. Newton saw Callisto through the window of the robot. Callisto was smiling with an insane, happy grin. Newton was too dazed to free himself from the torture and acted like the robot killed him. Callisto quit his attack on Newton and just stared into Newton's expressionless face. After a few moments went by, the robot started making a mechanical laughing sound. It got louder and louder. The laughter of Callisto was the cause of it, and it got louder as a result of Callisto thinking that he had finally killed his old enemy. Suddenly, Newton quickly grabbed onto the arm of the robot, pulled it forward to get the 3-ton machine off balance, then rammed his rear into its legs, knocking it off its feet and throwing the weight of the machine onto his back. Newton then quickly boosted it up and pulled on the arm, causing the incredibly heavy robot to crash onto the floor. So heavy was the machine that it sank a half a foot into the floor of the hangar deck. There was a look of horror on Callisto's face as he saw Newton's fist hammering on the window of the midsection, putting big cracks in it. Callisto then knocked Newton off, then made the robot get up. Newton then flew around the robot and jumped onto its back. He then used all his might and started pulling up onto the robot's head. No! It screamed mechanically as the strong metal began to loudly shriek and squeak from Newton ripping up on it. Suddenly, there was a loud snap from the giving of the robot's head. Newton went sliding on the floor with the robot's head in his arms. When Newton got up, he saw Callisto's old, burned, mutated-looking head peering angrily at him from up over the robot's shoulders. Callisto, said Newton with pity in his voice. You look like your clone brother Toby. Didn't Tusco heal you? Tusco? I never met anyone named Tusco, he said. Tusco? I never met anyone by the name of Tusco, he said. Newton then realized that Callisto was never healed up. It was never healed by Tusco. It was just an illusion-produced lie, fabricated by the meeting place when the people of the meeting place tried to make Newton think God was Satan by getting in control of his mind. You mean you have been this way ever since you tried to kill me by putting bombs on the bottom of my space station? Asked a shocked Newton. Callisto shook his head for yes. Man, no wonder you're acting so batty, said Newton with pity in his voice. Callisto didn't like Newton's expression. Calling him batty, and he made another try for him. Newton then flew up into the air and got safely out of Callisto's robotic reach. Callisto then started activating the robot's machine gun arms again. Newton jumped down onto the floor of the hangar deck, put up his arms, and said, "Okay, Callisto, if you want to kill me, go ahead. Shoot all your all into me. I'm tired of fighting with you, and if you want to know the truth, I'm getting tired of my existence. So go ahead, shoot, kill me. Since you look like hell itself and will feel great in my destruction, well, go ahead, shoot. There was a long, drawn-out pause. Callisto had his guns. Callisto had his gun's sight on Newton, but for some reason didn't seem to have the urge to blow Newton away, like he always wanted to do. Newton then looked at the hideously ugly mutant creature's face that was looking at him and asked, "Before you shoot, Callisto, could you please tell me why you and Callisto 1 always wanted to kill me? I mean, he tried to kill me through experimentation with the radiation that turned me into a mutant, and you always seem to have the same amount of hate as he. I personally think it was genetics, since you two are clones, but Callisto 3 was my best friend, so it must not have been genetic after all. Do you have any logical answers for why you and Callisto 1 tried to kill me all the time?" I would love an answer, because you, being a Jupiterian, are supposed to be very logical and intelligent like the Vulcan race, and I haven't really been able to see that from you. You just your clone number 3, who is now dead. I'm sorry to say that, though, but it's true. Callisto 3 is dead? Asked the mutated Callisto 2. Yes, I'm afraid so. The black mutant shrank him down and squashed him aboard my ship a few years ago. But could you please give me a good answer to why you always try to kill me? I'm pretty sure you would have turned me into a mutant, which is why I sometimes say you turned me into a mutant when it was actually clone 1 of the Callisto series. Callisto just stood there in his big robot contraption, thinking of something to say. He then said, "You irritated me. You irritated my brother also." Callisto 1. "Yes, 1. Why?" asked Newton again. Was it due to the possibility of you being jealous of me and being jealous of me for being in command when you prided yourself for being more intelligent and superior to humans? Being a Jupiterian who was above such primitive and inferior emotions such as love and compassion? Callisto just stared at Newton. Newton felt he was saying the wrong things. "Something tells me I'm irritating you again. I'm sorry if I am. You still haven't revealed to me why you and Clone 1 were always trying to kill me. And the way you two were so bent on my destruction showed me that you had a great amount of hate for me. But Callisto, isn't hate an emotion just as illogical and primitive as love, according to the Jupiterians, which you are so proud of being? And isn't pride an emotion also?" Callisto just stood there in his monstrous contraption and showed his gnarled, ugly teeth to realize Newton was making sense. "I hate you, Newton. I have always hated you. Because I was in command, and you were angry and jealous of me. Jealous that I was a good-looking, non-green-skinned, transparent alien, and intelligent to boot. Plus, you were angry to realize that I was in command, and you weren't." Callisto shook his head for yes. "As a matter of fact, you probably felt like a poor black man in the slave times, only instead of being black, you happened to be green and transparent. You probably felt like I was the Lone Ranger and you were Tonto. Only you hated playing Tonto, the noble savage." "Yes!" hissed Callisto with anger in his eyes, revealing that Newton was touching on all the reasons why he hated him. Newton walked up to Callisto and asked with pity in his voice, "Don't you feel horrible to end up with human emotions?" "Yes," shouted Callisto. Callisto was just about to pull the triggers on Newton again, but Newton sat down, closed his eyes to let Callisto kill him. Newton wanted Callisto to really understand that he was bored with life and that he wanted Callisto to kill him. Fine. Fight, damn it, fight! Begged Callisto with a high, squeaky, repulsive, mutated voice. Callisto then realized that his machine's voice simulator had burned out. He would no longer be able to sound threatening with a deep, low, computerized voice. Hearing Callisto's real voice caught Newton off guard. He didn't know if Callisto was being serious or not, but he was. Faked out or not, which Newton couldn't tell. This struck Newton as being excruciatingly funny. Newton laughed and laughed. He couldn't stop laughing. With great fury, Callisto began firing the machine gun bullets into the laughing Newton. Die, die, die! Squealed Callisto in a shrilly, grotesque, high falsetto voice. Callisto continued to shoot Newton until all his bullets were gone. When the smoke lifted from the bombardment, Newton was rolled up against the wall of the hangar deck that now had big gaping holes in it. Callisto moved his robot's arm up over his head and was just about to swing it down and shatter Newton's cracked up head from the bullets, but Sergeant Storm came into the hangar room and yelled, "Callisto, stop! Callisto, stop!" Callisto stopped for a moment, then was about to swing down again. Storm shouted out again, "Don't! I can help you. If you kill Newton, I won't help you." "What do you mean?" asked the pitiful creature. The aged Sergeant Storm walked closer to Callisto and said, "I listened to the conversation you had with Newton. You were unable to answer the question, if you are so logical, why do you have this hate for Mason, now Newton?" "Callisto, in the time that I spent wasting my life on this ball of rock and dust, I studied our pasts, yours included. I can now answer Newton's question. The reason why you are so jealous and envious of Newton is because you are." Senile old man, growled Callisto, and Callisto went to try to crush the unconscious Newton again. Storm then shouted out, You are because the cloning people of the Federation tampered with your genetic code. They altered your brain's DNA, Callisto. They are responsible for giving you emotions. They wanted to have a Callisto who not only could be logical, like a Jupiterian, but one who could feel also. You were created with emotions, so you could be the ultimate moon psychiatrist. Not only would you be able to logically heal our emotional problems, but you could also feel for us too. Do you see now why you haven't been acting logically, Callisto? Callisto suddenly lost his urge to kill Newton again. Do you mean to tell me that the reason why I am this way is because of human tampering? That's right. If you kill Newton now, it's because your human emotions just backfired. Actually, if you want to hate anybody, Callisto, you should hate the Federation. They're the ones who made it possible for you to hate Newton. Storm looked down and checked Newton out. Well, as usual, he'll survive. Although I must admit, I think you might have really been able to I think you might have really been able to kill him if I didn't come in here and stop you. It's strange. From the sound of it, it sounded like Newton wanted to die. I wonder why he's getting tired of living. He has everything in this universe. Maybe he lost his soul? Storm looked at the ugly, mutated face of Callisto. I guess we can't be happy in any situation, can we? Callisto lowered his robot arms and just stared at Newton, who started twitching his fingers. Storm laughed, then said, "He'll live forever, huh? He'll live forever, huh?" Callisto turned away from Newton, feeling ashamed. "What are you thinking about, Callisto?" asked Storm again. "The realization that all this hate within me is just a result with people tampering with my just a result with people tampering with my DNA. It never made sense to me why I should hate. I hoped that this hate I had for Newton and Mason was logical. Now that you have told me this information, I feel lower than a human." Storm laughed and said, "You aren't lower than a human, Callisto. The Federation just improved you. You are actually better than the regular Jupiterian, because you can relate to humans now." "They ruined me," shouted Callisto with anger in his voice. "They also ruined Callisto 1. It is better not to feel. To feel as a human is a curse." "Why?" asked the frightened Storm. "Because nothing gets better. Nothing gets better. Except Newton." Callisto looked down and saw Newton open his eyes. What's that? What's that?" asked Newton, regaining consciousness. "Newton will live forever. I won't. He'll continue to improve. I'll continue to decay." "Everybody loves Newton now. No one loves Callisto. I'm just a green, burned, ugly space alien who has a funny voice now, too," said Newton with a smile on his face. It took a little while to register in Callisto's mind, but when it did, Callisto's face filled with fury. Callisto lifted his robot's arms over his head, his robot arm over his head, and was just about to crush Newton's head. Newton closed his eyes and prepared for his death. "Gosh, Newton, what's the matter with you?" asked Storm. Newton opened his eyes, staggered up onto his simmering artificial limbs, and said, "You are wrong, Callisto. I'm not improving. I'm not getting better. Although I seem to have everything in this universe, and although I'm getting better physically, I don't age, and have people loving me, I'm getting tired of my existence. Things are becoming excruciatingly boring for me. You may think I'm happy, but I'm not. I lost most of my crew to the Black Mutant several years ago, and since then, things have actually become boring for me. All I see ahead of me now is a universe All I see ahead of me now is a universe where I shall be accepted, yet there will be no action. You know, I think I enjoyed all those space battles. Yes, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed defending myself and my ship from attacking aliens. But after I conquered the robots of Industro, and after I freed the universe from the Black Mutant,